We do not chase shadows, we do not interrogate emotions, we observe patterns, calmly, clearly, without fear. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. So we do not react. We see. Sign 1. Her emotional energy quietly leaves the relationship. The first sign is never dramatic. There is no explosion, no confession, no obvious betrayal. Instead, something far more subtle occurs. Her emotional presence withdraws. She still shows up physically. She still speaks, plans, and responds. But the quality of her attention changes. A Stoic learns early that attention is the currency of the soul. Where it flows, attachment follows. Marcus Aurelius observed that the mind naturally drifts toward what it values, often without conscious intention. When emotional energy fades without conflict, it is rarely because love has vanished into nothingness. More often, it has been redirected. Conversations that once carried warmth become efficient. Laughter still happens, but it feels timed, not spontaneous. She listens, yet does not arrive. There is a difference between peace and absence. Stoicism teaches us to recognize patterns, not cling to hope or fear. Seneca warned that we suffer not from events, but from false interpretations. So we do not rush to conclusions. We observe. A key detail: this withdrawal happens without explanation. No argument precedes it. No unresolved conflict demands distance. The emotional dimming appears quietly and stays. This is important. When people grow closer to someone else, they often do not remove energy from their current bond intentionally. They simply stop investing in it. Epictetus taught that desire moves naturally toward what promises pleasure, novelty, or validation. The shift is instinctive, not always malicious. Another subtle marker is reduced curiosity. She no longer asks deeper questions about your inner world. Your struggles receive acknowledgement, not engagement. Your victories are noted, not celebrated. A Stoic understands that love expresses itself through attention, not words. When emotional curiosity dies, attachment weakens. Here is where discipline matters. The untrained mind panics, it interrogates, it demands reassurance. The Stoic does none of this. Why? Because self-control is power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In this context, the enemy is not the person. It is emotional reactivity. We do not chase affection. We do not beg for presence. We remain centered. Instead, we ask one question internally. Is this a temporary withdrawal or a consistent pattern? Stoicism is not denial. It is clarity without drama. If emotional absence persists while life otherwise remains stable, it signals that her inner world is being shared elsewhere, whether emotionally, mentally, or relationally. This does not automatically mean betrayal, but it does mean disconnection. And disconnection always precedes displacement. We do not accuse. We do not collapse. We do not cling. We stand firm, grounded in self-respect. Because the Stoic knows this truth. Whoever loses emotional presence first has already begun to leave, even if their body remains. And our task is not to control others, but to remain sovereign over ourselves. Sign 2. Her words become carefully neutral, not honest. The second sign does not live in actions alone. It lives in language. A Stoic learns to listen not only to what is said, but to how it is said, and what is no longer spoken at all. Epictetus taught that people reveal their inner condition through their judgments, long before they reveal it through confessions. When someone is emotionally invested elsewhere, their words begin to change shape. They become safer, more neutral, less revealing. Not colder, that would be obvious, but strategically calm. She no longer disagrees deeply. She no longer expresses strong preferences. She no longer risks emotional friction. At first, this feels like peace. Fewer arguments, less tension. But Stoicism reminds us, absence of conflict is not presence of truth. Seneca warned that false harmony often hides decay. Her responses shorten, but not abruptly. Her opinions soften, but not sincerely. her honesty becomes filtered. Why? Because emotional loyalty creates psychological caution. When someone is attached to another, even secretly, they unconsciously protect that bond. They avoid statements that could expose contradictions, guilt, or divided attention. So they choose neutrality, not because they are at peace, but because they are guarding something. You may notice phrases like, "I don't know," "It's not a big deal," "Whatever you think," "It doesn't matter." These are not signs of contentment. They are signs of withdrawal from emotional risk. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a person's speech mirrors the state of their soul. When words lose depth, it is often because depth has been invested elsewhere. Another subtle indicator is delayed truth. She doesn't lie directly. She delays, she reframes, she omits. Stoicism teaches that deception is not only false speech, it is also incomplete speech. When answers arrive late, vague, or overly polished, it signals inner calculation. And here is the critical Stoic discipline. We do not interrogate. The untrained man demands clarity immediately. The Stoic observes consistency over time. One vague answer means nothing. A pattern of softened truth means everything. Ask yourself, does she speak freely or carefully? Does she express herself or manage perception? When emotional allegiance shifts, people stop speaking from themselves and start speaking around themselves. This is not hatred. It is not cruelty. It is avoidance. And avoidance is a form of distance. Now comes the most important Stoic lesson. We do not react emotionally to uncertainty. We do not try to force honesty. We maintain our center. Epictetus reminded us that our power lies not in controlling others' behavior, but in governing our own judgments. When we remain composed, observant, and grounded, truth eventually reveals itself, without force, because what is hidden requires effort, and effort cannot be sustained forever. A person can control words for a time. They cannot control patterns indefinitely, so we stay silent. We stay disciplined. We stay self-respecting, because the Stoic understands this final truth. When words lose their weight, it is because emotional gravity has shifted elsewhere, and no amount of questioning can pull it back. Our task is not to chase truth. It is to be strong enough to face it when it arrives. Sign 3. Her energy is no longer directed. It's divided. The third sign is not loud. It does not shout through accusations or dramatic shifts. It reveals itself in attention. Stoicism teaches that attention is the most honest currency a human being possesses. Marcus Aurelius wrote that where a person directs their mind, there their life is truly lived. We can lie with words, we can mask behavior, but attention cannot be faked for long. When someone is emotionally involved elsewhere, their energy does not disappear. It splits. You may still receive kindness. You may still receive time, but you no longer receive presence. She listens, but not fully. She responds, but not deeply. She is there, yet somehow elsewhere. This is not distraction. This is emotional misalignment. A Stoic understands that human beings have limited inner resources. We cannot give ourselves fully in two directions at once. When loyalty shifts, attention follows silently. You may notice moments where she seems distant for no clear reason. Her mind drifts. Her reactions arrive a second too late. Her laughter feels delayed, like it was decided rather than felt. Seneca warned that the mind, when divided, loses its steadiness, and that unsteadiness is not random. It is directional. Another subtle marker is unequal enthusiasm. She still engages, but without momentum. Plans feel lighter. Conversations end sooner. Shared moments no longer expand, they contract. Not because she dislikes you, but because emotional energy is being spent elsewhere before it reaches you. And here is where many fail. The untrained mind interprets this as a challenge to compete, to demand more, to chase attention back into place. But Stoicism teaches restraint. Epictetus reminds us, do not demand that events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and your life will go well. A Stoic does not beg for presence. Presence is either given freely or it is not real. There is also a deeper layer to this sign. Inconsistency of emotional availability. Some days she is warm, some days she is distant. No clear cause, no explanation. This fluctuation often indicates an internal tug of war, a divided loyalty that has not yet resolved itself. When someone is torn between two emotional realities, their behavior becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability is not mystery. It is conflict. Now comes the discipline that defines strength. We do not confront prematurely. We do not accuse without certainty. We do not abandon dignity to relieve anxiety. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is not to be like the one who wrongs you. The Stoic response to divided energy is self-containment. We pull our attention back to ourselves. We stabilize our emotions. We observe without desperation, because when someone's energy no longer flows toward you naturally, forcing it only reveals weakness, never truth. And here is the final Stoic truth of this sign. Where attention consistently goes, commitment has already followed, even if words have not caught up yet. We cannot control that shift, but we can control our response to it. And the one who masters himself in moments of uncertainty will always walk away with his power intact, regardless of what the truth turns out to be. Sign 4. She protects her privacy more than the relationship. The fourth sign does not appear as secrecy alone. It appears as defensiveness. Stoicism teaches that a person acting in harmony with their values has nothing to guard except their character. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul at peace does not fear exposure because it carries no internal contradiction. When someone begins to emotionally invest elsewhere, privacy transforms. It no longer serves peace. It serves protection. You may notice that simple questions feel intrusive to her, not accusatory questions, ordinary ones. Neutral curiosity that once felt natural now meets resistance. Why do you ask? Can't I have my own space? You're overthinking. These responses are not about boundaries. They are about deflection. A Stoic understands the difference. Healthy boundaries are calm and consistent. Defensive privacy is sharp, emotional, and situational. When transparency threatens an inner conflict, the mind reacts before reason does. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by events, but by the judgments they attach to them. When her inner judgment says, "This could expose something," her behavior shifts, even if she never speaks the truth aloud. Another layer of this sign is selective openness. She shares freely about some parts of her life, but goes silent around others. Certain names, certain moments, certain time gaps feel off-limits. Not openly forbidden, just avoided. And avoidance is more revealing than refusal. Seneca wrote that guilt does not need witnesses to exist. It only needs awareness. And when awareness grows, the instinct to shield oneself grows with it. You may also notice that her tolerance for your presence changes around her phone, her schedule, or her sudden alone time. Not because independence is wrong, but because accountability feels threatening. Here is where Stoicism draws a hard line. A Stoic does not invade. A Stoic does not interrogate. A Stoic does not demand transparency from someone who is not willing to offer it freely. Why? Because forced honesty is not virtue. It is submission. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that we must never tie our peace to the behavior of another. When someone begins to protect privacy more fiercely than the bond itself, that is not a puzzle to solve. It is information to observe, and this is the crucial discipline. We do not react emotionally. We do not escalate. We do not betray our composure. We step back internally. We reduce emotional investment. We strengthen self-respect. We let behavior speak without interruption. Because the Stoic knows something most people forget. Truth does not need to be chased. It reveals itself when pressure is removed. If loyalty exists, transparency returns naturally. If it does not, no amount of questioning will restore it. And the final Stoic lesson of this sign is this. When someone must guard parts of their life from the person they claim to love, the fracture has already occurred. even if the relationship still stands. Our power lies not in uncovering secrets, but in refusing to abandon ourselves while waiting for clarity.